Overcoming Trauma, Psychological Healing Techniques. Written and published by C.Irmici. Feel free to subscribe for more content. Now let's get into the book. Introduction. Understanding Trauma. Trauma is a journey many of us never expected to embark on. It's something that reaches into the most vulnerable parts of our lives, often without warning, and leaves traces in ways we may not fully understand. Trauma can stem from many sources: childhood experiences, sudden life events, prolonged stress, or even moments that seemed manageable at the time but later settled deeply within us. It's an experience that shapes us, often affecting our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in ways that feel out of our control. In this book, we'll explore the journey of overcoming trauma, not by forgetting what happened, but by gently uncovering pathways to healing. Here we'll look at trauma for what it is: a response, often completely natural, to experiences that overwhelmed our capacity to cope. This journey doesn't just involve moving past difficult memories. It involves reclaiming our power, re-engaging with life, and rediscovering the parts of ourselves that may have been overshadowed by pain or fear. As we move through each chapter, we'll cover methods developed by psychologists, therapists, and trauma survivors to support the process of healing. You'll read about evidence-based techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT) and EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, alongside tools like mindfulness and creative expression, which allow us to reconnect with the present moment and our inner selves. Each approach offers something unique and flexible, meant to be tailored to your own needs and comfort level. Healing from trauma is not linear. It's often messy, with steps forward and backward. Some days progress may feel real and tangible. Other days it may feel distant. This is normal, and through this book I encourage you to give yourself the space to go at your own pace. The techniques here are designed not to fix you but to guide you toward a place of self-acceptance and resilience. Healing is a journey we take for ourselves, but often with support along the way. In the following chapters you'll find tools and practices that invite you to turn inward and address what's difficult, all while honoring your strengths and resilience. We'll explore how trauma affects the brain and body and how each technique offers ways to create balance, peace, and even new meaning in life. The road to healing from trauma is as individual as each one of us, and there's no one-size-fits-all. I encourage you to explore these methods, listen to your intuition, and remember that there is no rush or wrong way to heal. It's important to know you're not alone on this path. You're joining countless others who have walked or are walking similar journeys, each finding hope and connection in their own time and way. As you read, let these words be a companion, a resource, and a source of encouragement to help you see that healing, no matter how impossible it may sometimes seem, is possible and it's within reach. Chapter 1. Recognizing and Identifying Trauma. When we think of trauma, the mind often goes to large, life-altering events, things like accidents, natural disasters, or personal losses. While these situations certainly leave a mark, trauma can stem from various sources, many of which are less immediately visible but equally impactful. Trauma isn't defined by a single type of experience. It's any event or series of events that overwhelm our ability to cope. It's essential to understand that trauma doesn't have to look dramatic or severe to be real. By recognizing and identifying the unique ways trauma may appear in our lives, we open the door to self-compassion and healing. What is trauma? At its core, trauma is a response. It's how our mind and body react to experiences that feel unbearable, unsafe, or threatening, causing our nervous system to shift into survival mode. This reaction is a natural, protective response that has helped humans survive for millennia. However, when our bodies and minds hold on to these survival responses long after the threat has passed, we experience trauma's lingering effects. Trauma can result from a single event, such as an assault or a car accident, or from prolonged exposure to stress, such as childhood neglect, bullying, or living with someone who struggles with addiction. There's also vicarious trauma, where individuals, often caregivers or those who work in high-stress professions, absorb the stress of others over time. Trauma responses vary from person to person, depending on personality, genetics, and individual history, which makes it essential to understand our own responses without judgment or comparison. Signs and symptoms of trauma. Identifying trauma starts with recognizing its subtle and not-so-subtle signs. Trauma manifests both mentally and physically, affecting our moods, thoughts, and behaviors. Some people might notice signs right away, while others may feel fine for years until something triggers the emotions associated with trauma. Here are some common symptoms to be aware of. Emotional symptoms. Trauma can lead to persistent feelings of sadness, anger, or anxiety. Some people feel numb, detached, or constantly on edge. Difficulty concentrating, mood swings, and irritability are also common. Physical symptoms. The body holds on to stress in ways we might not realize. Common physical symptoms of trauma include headaches, muscle tension, digestive issues, and sleep problems. The mind-body connection is powerful, and physical reactions can often be traced back to unresolved emotional distress. Behavioral symptoms. Trauma may also alter behavior patterns. Some individuals isolate themselves from friends or family, engage in risky or self-destructive behavior, or feel a strong need to control their environment. For others, hypervigilance, an enhanced state of awareness that feels necessary to stay safe, becomes a constant. Recognizing these signs is a vital first step. It helps us understand that our reactions aren't flaws or weaknesses but responses that make sense in light of what we've been through. Identifying these patterns can be empowering, showing us that we are not alone and that there are names and reasons behind our experiences. Types of trauma. Understanding the different forms of trauma allows us to see how varied trauma experiences can be and recognize those that may apply to our lives. Acute trauma, stemming from a single overwhelming event, such as an accident, natural disaster, or sudden loss. Chronic trauma, caused by repeated exposure to stressful situations, often seen in those who have faced ongoing abuse, long-term illness, or prolonged bullying. Complex trauma, typically arising from prolonged and repeated trauma, often beginning in childhood. Complex trauma affects core aspects of a person's sense of self and relationships. Developmental trauma, emerging from adverse experiences during childhood, this type of trauma can significantly impact emotional and cognitive development. The type of trauma we experience shapes our healing journey. By recognizing where our experiences fall, we can better understand our own responses and identify methods that may help us heal effectively. Acknowledging and validating your experience. One of the hardest parts of addressing trauma is acknowledging it exists. Often, we downplay our experiences, thinking they weren't that bad or convincing ourselves that we should be over it by now. However, minimizing or dismissing our own pain can delay healing and leave us feeling isolated. By simply recognizing and validating our experiences, without judgment or comparison, we take a powerful step toward healing. Validating trauma means giving ourselves permission to feel and acknowledge the hurt. This may involve understanding that healing is a journey without a timeline, allowing ourselves to seek support, and recognizing that there's no right way to heal. Many people find it helpful to share their story in safe settings, whether that's with a therapist, a support group, or a trusted friend. Speaking about our experience, even quietly to ourselves, can alleviate the sense of shame or secrecy that trauma often brings. Moving forward with compassion. Starting this journey takes courage, and it's essential to be kind to ourselves along the way. As you read through this book and explore different healing methods, remember that there is no single right answer. Recognizing and identifying trauma is simply the first step in a journey toward reclaiming your life and peace of mind. Healing doesn't mean forgetting or erasing what happened. It means learning to carry it in a way that no longer burdens us. In the coming chapters, we'll dive into specific techniques that address trauma at different levels: emotional, physical, and relational. Whether you're at the beginning of this journey or already on the path, know that each step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward a fuller, more resilient self. Chapter 2: The Science of Trauma and Its Effects on the Brain. To understand trauma fully, it's helpful to look at how it affects the brain. Trauma doesn't just live in our memories. It leaves marks on our neural pathways, altering how we think, feel, and respond to the world around us. These changes are not permanent but can explain why trauma feels so deeply ingrained and difficult to shift. By gaining insight into what's happening neurologically, we can better understand our responses and appreciate the healing work we undertake. How trauma shapes the brain. The human brain has evolved over millions of years to protect us from harm, and our responses to trauma stem from these survival mechanisms. When we experience something traumatic, the brain reacts by activating areas responsible for fear and survival. The amygdala, often called the brain's alarm system, perceives danger and sends signals that prepare us to react quickly, flooding our system with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This process is meant to keep us safe, allowing us to respond instinctively without having to think things through. However, in traumatic situations, the amygdala can become overstimulated, causing the brain to lock in the experience. Instead of processing the memory as a past event, the brain holds on to it as if it's still happening or could happen again at any moment. This explains why trauma survivors may feel triggered by sounds, sights, or even smells that remind them of the traumatic event, because the brain is wired to prepare them for future threats. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking and decision-making, can also be impacted by trauma. When the amygdala is highly active, the prefrontal cortex may temporarily shut down, making it difficult to think clearly or assess a situation accurately. Over time, this can make a person feel overwhelmed, out of control, or constantly on high alert. Why trauma feels stuck. One of the most challenging aspects of trauma is the sensation that it's stuck within us, surfacing repeatedly despite our best efforts to move on. This feeling often arises because trauma memories are stored differently than regular memories. Traumatic experiences bypass the brain's usual processing system, and instead of integrating into our memory network, they remain vivid and disconnected. When these fragmented memories resurface, they feel raw and immediate, often accompanied by physical sensations or intense emotions. This phenomenon explains why someone may vividly recall the smallest details of a traumatic experience, even if they struggle to remember everyday events. In many cases, these memories remain unchanged over time, replaying with the same intensity as when they first occurred. The body may also remember the trauma through sensations, leading to tension, nausea, or discomfort when triggered by specific memories or cues. Understanding triggers and responses. Triggers are sensory reminders of a traumatic event that provoke an intense reaction. They might be specific sounds, places, or even feelings that remind us of what happened. For someone who has experienced trauma, triggers can be confusing and distressing, causing them to relive emotions or sensations that seem disproportionate to the present situation. When a trigger activates the brain's alarm system, the body responds as if the original trauma were happening again. This reaction can lead to flashbacks, panic attacks, or dissociation, where one feels detached from reality. In many cases, the individual may not even realize what triggered the reaction, adding to a sense of helplessness. Recognizing that these reactions are rooted in the brain's survival instinct can be the first step in addressing them with compassion and understanding. How healing changes the brain. The good news is that the brain's wiring is not set in stone. Thanks to a concept known as neuroplasticity, the brain has an incredible ability to adapt, reorganize, and even heal itself over time. Neuroplasticity means that with intentional effort, we can create new pathways in the brain, gradually weakening the old trauma responses and strengthening new, healthier responses. Therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR, work by helping the brain process trauma in a way that integrates the memory into its natural network. This integration allows traumatic experiences to settle as past events rather than constant threats, freeing us from the cycle of reactivity. Meditation and mindfulness practices also promote healing by training the brain to focus on the present moment rather than getting stuck in past experiences. Over time, these practices can strengthen the prefrontal cortex and reduce the amygdala's heightened activity, leading to a greater sense of calm and control. Moving forward with self-compassion. Learning about the science of trauma can feel like a revelation, providing explanations for behaviors or emotions that once felt irrational or even shameful. It's important to approach this knowledge with compassion for ourselves. Recognizing that our reactions have a scientific basis, rooted in a complex interplay between brain structures and survival instincts, can help lift the blame or frustration we may feel. Each person's brain reacts to trauma differently, and so each healing journey will be unique. Some may find that just understanding these mechanisms brings relief, while others may need time to let this knowledge sink in. The journey from knowledge to healing is often gradual, requiring patience and kindness toward ourselves. In the following chapters, we'll explore therapeutic techniques that align with these neurological insights, offering tools to help calm the brain, reprocess trauma, and empower us to feel safe again. As we engage with these methods, it's helpful to remember that each practice is designed not to erase trauma, but to help us reshape our responses, fostering resilience and opening the door to new possibilities. Chapter 3: Building a Foundation for Healing. Healing from trauma is a journey, and like any journey, it requires a strong foundation. Before diving into specific therapeutic techniques, it's important to create a stable base, one that allows us to navigate the emotional terrain of trauma recovery safely. This foundation includes understanding our needs, building supportive connections, and developing practical habits that promote resilience and self-compassion. Taking time to establish this groundwork can make the entire healing process feel less overwhelming, offering tools that can be returned to again and again. Healing is about finding balance and creating a space where we feel empowered to explore our emotions and grow. The importance of self-care. Self-care is often seen as a luxury, but when it comes to trauma recovery, it is essential. Trauma takes a toll on both mind and body, making it crucial to care for both with intention. Self-care in this context means providing ourselves with regular nourishment, rest, and comfort. For some, this might mean setting aside time each day to relax and recharge. For others, it could involve reconnecting with hobbies or activities that bring joy and a sense of control. Physical health is a key part of this process. Trauma can manifest in physical symptoms like fatigue, muscle tension, and weakened immunity. Simple practices like staying hydrated, maintaining a balanced diet, and engaging in light exercise can have a positive impact on how we feel overall. Exercise, even in the form of gentle movement like walking or yoga, helps release tension stored in the body and promotes the release of endorphins, which can lift our mood and reduce stress. Self-care also involves setting boundaries. Trauma can blur our sense of self, sometimes making it difficult to separate our needs from those of others. Learning to say no to draining situations and yes to things that nurture us is a powerful act of self-respect. Boundaries help us protect our energy and give us the freedom to focus on our healing journey. Creating a support network. Support is one of the most valuable resources during trauma recovery. Trauma often leaves people feeling isolated or misunderstood, so finding trusted individuals to lean on can make a significant difference. A support network may include family, friends, support groups, or therapists, anyone who offers empathy and understanding. The goal isn't necessarily to share every detail of our trauma with others, but to have people who accept and support us without judgment. Sometimes it's enough to know someone is there. Support can come in many forms: a friend who listens without interrupting, a family member who checks in regularly, or a therapist who offers guidance. In times of difficulty, these connections remind us that we are not alone, and they can provide stability when our own resilience feels low. Connecting with others who have also experienced trauma can be particularly healing. Many people find comfort in peer support groups, where they can speak openly and listen to others who understand what they're going through. In these settings, we can share our stories and learn from others' journeys, finding reassurance in the commonalities of our experiences. Developing emotional awareness. For many trauma survivors, emotions can feel overwhelming or even frightening. Trauma can make us feel out of touch with our emotions, or it can make emotions so intense that we avoid them altogether. Building a foundation for healing means learning to understand and manage these emotions without judgment. Developing emotional awareness allows us to reconnect with ourselves in a gentle way, making space for feelings without letting them control us. One way to cultivate emotional awareness is by practicing mindfulness, which involves observing our emotions without reacting to them. Mindfulness helps us notice when emotions arise, allowing us to name and acknowledge them. Rather than thinking, "I am anxious," we can reframe this as "I am noticing anxiety." This small shift reminds us that emotions are temporary experiences, not permanent states. Journaling can also help in processing emotions. Writing down our thoughts allows us to release what's inside and gives us a sense of clarity. Even short, daily reflections on how we feel can deepen our understanding of ourselves and make it easier to navigate intense emotions when they arise. Some people find value in creating a dedicated space in their journal to track positive experiences or moments of calm, which can serve as reminders of resilience and progress. Practicing patience and compassion. One of the most challenging aspects of trauma recovery is the pressure we often place on ourselves to get better quickly. However, healing is not a race, it's a deeply personal journey with many twists and turns. Practicing patience with ourselves is crucial. Instead of focusing on the end goal, we can try to appreciate the small steps, even on days when progress feels minimal. Self-compassion is at the heart of this practice. Trauma can leave us feeling broken or inadequate, and it's easy to be hard on ourselves for feeling this way. By extending kindness and understanding toward ourselves, we challenge these negative beliefs. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves as we would treat a close friend, offering forgiveness when we fall short and celebrating even the smallest victories. It can be helpful to cultivate a self-compassion routine, perhaps by speaking to ourselves gently, allowing ourselves rest, or practicing affirmations that remind us of our worth and strength. Statements like "I am doing my best" or "I am allowed to take my time" can be grounding and provide comfort on difficult days. Setting small, manageable goals. To feel empowered in our healing journey, it's beneficial to set small, achievable goals. These goals don't need to be grand. In fact, it's often more helpful to start small, such as aiming to practice a mindfulness exercise once a day or reaching out to a friend for support. Each goal we accomplish, no matter how minor it seems, reinforces our sense of agency and resilience. Healing from trauma can feel like an enormous task, so breaking it down into manageable steps can prevent us from feeling overwhelmed. Setting realistic goals allows us to celebrate progress without setting unrealistic expectations. For example, instead of expecting ourselves to overcome anxiety in a week, we might aim to try a new relaxation technique once a day and observe how we feel. These goals serve as gentle reminders that healing is an active process, and that with each effort, we are rebuilding our lives in ways that bring us peace and empowerment. Building resilience through self-kindness. A solid foundation for healing involves more than techniques and strategies. It involves cultivating a mindset that values resilience and self-kindness. Trauma may have left scars, but each of us has an innate capacity for growth and healing. By approaching ourselves with kindness and encouragement, we nurture the parts of us that are strong and capable, even if they sometimes feel buried beneath the weight of our experiences. In the chapters to come, we'll explore specific methods for processing and releasing trauma. But no matter which techniques we choose to adopt, these foundational principles, self-care, support, emotional awareness, patience, and compassion, will remain central to the journey. With this groundwork, we create a space where healing can flourish, and where each step forward, no matter how small, leads us toward a life of greater peace, strength, and self-understanding. Chapter 4. Cognitive Behavioral Therapy (CBT) Techniques. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is a widely recognized therapeutic approach for managing trauma. CBT focuses on identifying and changing unhelpful thought patterns and behaviors, enabling us to regain control over our emotional and mental states. Trauma can trap us in cycles of negative thinking, often reinforcing feelings of fear, guilt, or shame. CBT offers tools to break these cycles, helping us reshape our perspectives and find relief from the mental and emotional weight of trauma. While CBT is typically practiced with a licensed therapist, many of its techniques can be learned and practiced independently. This chapter introduces key CBT principles and exercises that can help you address the mental impact of trauma and begin the process of healing. Understanding thought patterns. At the core of CBT is the idea that our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are interconnected. Traumatic experiences often lead to deeply ingrained negative beliefs, thoughts that may have served as coping mechanisms during the trauma but now keep us stuck in unhelpful cycles. For instance, someone who experienced betrayal might develop the belief, "I can't trust anyone," leading to isolation and a sense of loneliness. CBT helps us recognize these thought patterns and examine their accuracy. By questioning and reframing negative beliefs, we open the door to new perspectives. This doesn't mean thinking positively to ignore or diminish the pain, but rather challenging thoughts that might be based on past experiences rather than present reality. One way to practice this is by keeping a thought journal. This simple exercise involves writing down distressing thoughts when they arise and identifying the emotions they trigger. Next, try to question the thought. Is this belief absolutely true? Are there alternative ways of looking at the situation? This process of questioning can help us see that thoughts are not facts. They are interpretations that we can gradually shift. Reframing negative thoughts. One of CBT's most valuable tools is cognitive reframing. When we reframe a thought, we look for a more balanced way to interpret our experiences. Reframing doesn't deny the reality of our trauma, but it helps reduce the emotional grip these thoughts can have over us. Let's consider an example. If you find yourself thinking, "I'm weak because I still struggle with this," try to reframe it as, "I'm strong for working through this, even though it's difficult." This shift acknowledges the difficulty of trauma recovery while emphasizing resilience rather than weakness. Reframing allows us to hold space for the reality of our experiences without letting them define us negatively. Another effective strategy is to look for exceptions to the rule. If you have a belief such as, "People always let me down," try to identify moments, however small, when someone supported you. This isn't about ignoring pain or disappointment but balancing it with evidence of positive experiences. With practice, reframing can change how we interpret our interactions and reduce the intensity of distressing thoughts. Exposure techniques for trauma-related anxiety. Exposure therapy is a core component of CBT, especially useful for those dealing with trauma-related anxiety or avoidance behaviors. Trauma can make us feel as though we're reliving the experience whenever we encounter reminders or triggers. Exposure therapy gradually introduces us to these triggers in a safe, controlled way, helping our brain learn that the present is not the same as the past. Exposure therapy begins with creating a hierarchy of triggers, listing situations that provoke anxiety, from least to most distressing. The goal is to work through this list step by step, exposing ourselves to each situation until the anxiety begins to lessen. For instance, someone with a fear of public spaces after a traumatic event might start by spending a short time in a quiet park, gradually working up to busier places. This technique should be practiced with caution, ideally with the support of a therapist, especially for more intense trauma triggers. However, even on a small scale, exposure can be beneficial. For example, if a certain smell or sound is triggering, practice being near it in a safe environment. Over time, exposure can help reduce the brain's alarm response to these cues, allowing us to reclaim control over our reactions. Behavioral activation to break cycles of avoidance. Trauma often leads us to avoid certain activities or places to protect ourselves from distress. However, this avoidance can also prevent us from enjoying parts of life that once brought happiness. Behavioral activation is a CBT technique that encourages us to re-engage with the world, one step at a time. Start by identifying activities you once enjoyed but now avoid. Choose one small, manageable task that feels achievable, even if it's just taking a short walk or calling a friend. Set a specific time and day for this activity, and commit to doing it even if it feels challenging. Behavioral activation may feel unnatural at first, as avoidance can become deeply ingrained over time. But each time we take small actions, we remind ourselves that we are capable of facing the world again. With each step forward, we gradually break free from avoidance, replacing it with positive experiences that reinforce a sense of normalcy and enjoyment. Self-compassion in cognitive work. As we challenge and change our thought patterns, it's essential to approach ourselves with patience and kindness. Trauma can make self-criticism feel automatic, but self-compassion allows us to replace harsh inner voices with words of understanding and support. CBT exercises may reveal deep-seated beliefs about ourselves or the world that feel painful or frustrating, but each discovery is a step toward healing. When you find yourself feeling discouraged by a negative thought, Pause and try to respond as a compassionate friend would. Instead of thinking, "Why can't I just get over this?" try, "It's okay to struggle." Healing takes time. Practicing this self-compassion can reinforce a positive internal dialogue that supports your recovery, helping to reduce the shame or frustration that often accompanies trauma. Putting it all together, practicing CBT consistently. CBT techniques offer practical ways to reshape our thoughts, behaviors, and responses to trauma. However, like any new skill, they require consistent practice. Integrating these tools into daily life, through journaling, reframing thoughts, gradually facing fears, and re-engaging in activities, can make a significant difference over time. Set aside time each day, even if it's just a few minutes, to work on these techniques. As you build these practices, remember that progress may feel slow and setbacks are normal. Trauma can make us feel trapped in our thoughts, but each small effort to question, reframe, or confront a trigger is a victory. Over time, these victories add up, helping to shift our mental landscape from one of pain and fear to one of resilience and hope. CBT doesn't promise instant transformation, but it offers tools to reclaim control over our thoughts and responses, providing a pathway out of the cycle of trauma. By consistently practicing these techniques with patience and compassion, we can cultivate a mindset that supports healing, allowing us to see ourselves not just as survivors, but as individuals with the power to shape our own recovery. In the next chapter, we'll explore another powerful tool, EMDR, a therapeutic approach that helps reprocess traumatic memories and reduce their emotional impact. Together, CBT and EMDR offer complementary methods for addressing the mental and emotional layers of trauma, helping to guide us toward a place of greater peace and self-empowerment. Chapter 5: EMDR, Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or EMDR, is a therapeutic technique specifically designed to help people reprocess and release traumatic memories. Developed in the late 1980s by psychologist Francine Shapiro, EMDR has since become a widely used approach for trauma recovery. Unlike traditional talk therapy, EMDR incorporates both mental and physical components, making it uniquely effective for trauma survivors. Through a guided process of recalling distressing memories while following specific eye movements or other bilateral stimulation, EMDR helps the brain digest these memories, reducing their emotional intensity. This chapter explores what EMDR is, how it works, and why it can be so effective for trauma recovery. Whether you are considering trying EMDR yourself or simply want to understand how it functions, this overview provides a grounding in its principles and practices. How EMDR works. EMDR is based on the idea that trauma is not just a memory but an experience that remains stuck in the brain's memory network. When we go through something traumatic, the brain's natural information processing abilities can become overwhelmed, and the memory doesn't integrate into our larger memory network in the usual way. Instead, it lingers in a raw, unprocessed state, complete with vivid emotions, physical sensations, and intense feelings of distress. EMDR helps to unlock this stuck memory and reprocess it. This is done through a structured process involving bilateral stimulation, typically in the form of guided eye movements, but sometimes using tapping or sounds that alternate from side to side. During an EMDR session, the therapist will guide you to focus on a distressing memory while engaging in these bilateral movements. The aim is to allow the brain to digest the memory, helping it to integrate more naturally with other memories and become less intense. This process can be thought of as similar to what happens during REM sleep, where eye movements are associated with the brain processing and storing information. By activating both sides of the brain in a controlled setting, EMDR allows traumatic memories to be revisited and re-evaluated, reducing their emotional power. The phases of EMDR therapy. EMDR therapy typically involves 8 distinct phases, each designed to prepare the individual for safe and effective trauma reprocessing. Here's an overview of each phase. 1. History taking. The therapist gathers information about the person's background, experiences, and specific traumatic events they want to address. This phase helps the therapist understand the scope of the trauma and plan for treatment. 2. Preparation. The therapist explains the EMDR process, ensuring that the individual understands what to expect and feels comfortable with the approach. During this phase, grounding techniques and coping skills are taught to manage any distress that may arise. 3. Assessment. This phase identifies specific memories to target, including any associated images, emotions, beliefs, and physical sensations. The individual is asked to rate the distress of each memory, which will be re-evaluated after processing. 4. Desensitization. Here the core of EMDR begins. The individual focuses on a traumatic memory while following the therapist's bilateral stimulation. As this happens, distressing emotions and beliefs begin to shift, and the memory often starts to feel less intense. 5. Installation. After desensitization, this phase reinforces positive beliefs to replace the original, distressing ones. For example, a belief like "I am powerless" may be replaced with "I am strong" or "I am safe." 6. Body scan. Trauma is often stored physically, so in this phase the therapist guides the individual to scan their body for any lingering tension or discomfort. This step helps release any remaining physical traces of distress. 7. Closure. Each EMDR session ends with grounding techniques to ensure the individual leaves feeling safe and stable. The therapist may assign practices to reinforce the positive beliefs and emotions identified during the session. 8. Re-evaluation. In the final phase, the therapist reviews progress and assesses whether additional sessions are needed to address other memories or experiences. The benefits of EMDR. EMDR has been found to be particularly effective for those who feel stuck in trauma, unable to move past painful memories no matter how much time has passed. It helps reduce the intensity of memories and fosters a sense of resolution, allowing individuals to recall experiences without reliving the distress. Many people who undergo EMDR report feeling that the memory has softened. It's still there, but it no longer carries the same emotional charge or intrusive qualities. Another benefit of EMDR is that it doesn't require in-depth discussion or analysis of the traumatic event itself. This can be particularly helpful for individuals who struggle to talk about their experiences or find it too painful to discuss certain details. EMDR allows them to reprocess trauma without needing to recount every aspect verbally, which can make it feel less re-traumatizing than other forms of therapy. What to expect during EMDR sessions. EMDR sessions can vary in length and intensity. Some memories may be reprocessed quickly, while others may require more sessions to address fully. During the sessions, it's normal to experience intense emotions, vivid images, or physical sensations as the memory is being processed. These responses are a sign that the brain is actively working through the experience, bringing it to the surface to process it in a safe and guided manner. Each person's experience with EMDR is unique. Some people feel relief after just a few sessions, while others may need a longer period to see significant changes. It's important to approach EMDR with patience, allowing yourself the space to go at a comfortable pace. Practicing self-care after EMDR. Since EMDR can bring up intense emotions and memories, self-care after each session is crucial. It's common to feel tired, emotional, or even a bit disoriented following EMDR. Giving yourself time to rest and process these feelings can make a big difference. Engaging in gentle activities like journaling, meditation, or taking a walk can help ground you and promote calm. Talking to someone supportive, such as a friend or family member, can also provide comfort. Some people find it helpful to keep a journal specifically for their EMDR experience, noting changes in emotions, thoughts, or physical sensations that arise between sessions. Is EMDR right for you? EMDR is a powerful tool, but it may not be suitable for everyone. Some people find that other approaches, such as cognitive behavioral therapy or somatic therapies, resonate more. If you're considering EMDR, it's essential to speak with a licensed therapist trained in this approach. They can help assess whether EMDR fits your needs and guide you in exploring the technique safely. Additionally, EMDR can sometimes bring up emotions or memories that were previously repressed, which can be unsettling. That's why it's recommended to pursue EMDR with professional guidance. A skilled therapist can provide the support needed to navigate these emotions, ensuring a safe and effective experience. Moving forward with EMDR. EMDR offers a path to freedom from memories that may have felt inescapable. By gently reprocessing and integrating these memories, EMDR helps release the emotional weight they carry, opening up space for new beliefs and perspectives. Over time, this process empowers trauma survivors to reshape their relationship with their past, reducing the impact of memories that once dominated their thoughts and emotions. In the next chapter, we'll delve into mindfulness and meditation as tools for trauma healing. While EMDR works by directly addressing memories, mindfulness helps us cultivate a present-focused awareness that can provide peace and stability in everyday life. Together, these techniques form a powerful combination for managing trauma and building resilience, helping us move toward a future that feels brighter and less burdened by the past. Chapter 6. Mindfulness and Meditation for Trauma Healing. Mindfulness and meditation have become widely embraced for their calming and grounding effects, and for trauma survivors, these practices offer tools to reconnect with the present and develop a gentler relationship with oneself. Trauma can cause us to feel disconnected from our bodies, trapped in memories of the past, or overwhelmed by worry about the future. Mindfulness and meditation provide pathways to break these cycles by cultivating a state of awareness that anchors us in the here and now. This chapter explores mindfulness and meditation techniques that are especially helpful for those healing from trauma. While these practices don't erase traumatic memories, they do allow us to build a sense of safety, reduce stress, and enhance resilience in ways that support long-term healing. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment with a non-judgmental, accepting attitude. This can sound simple, but for trauma survivors, staying present can feel challenging. Trauma often makes the mind and body react as if the danger is still immediate, leading us to feel on edge or disconnected from the present. Mindfulness teaches us to observe these feelings without getting lost in them, creating space between our experiences and our reactions. Through mindfulness, we learn to notice sensations, thoughts, and emotions without trying to change or resist them. It's about accepting what is happening in the moment, even if it's uncomfortable, and allowing ourselves to experience it with curiosity rather than fear. In doing so, we can gradually reduce the intensity of trauma responses and feel more grounded. Starting with simple breathing exercises. Breathing is one of the most accessible tools for cultivating mindfulness. Focusing on the breath brings us back to the present, providing a calm anchor whenever anxiety or stress arise. For trauma survivors, breathing exercises can help counteract the body's fight-or-flight response, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation. One basic exercise is deep belly breathing. Here's how to try it. 1. Sit comfortably or lie down, placing one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen. 2. Take a slow, deep breath through your nose, allowing your abdomen to rise as you fill your lungs. 3. Exhale gently through your mouth, feeling your abdomen fall. 4. Focus on the rhythm of your breath, noticing each inhale and exhale. Practicing deep belly breathing for a few minutes each day can help the body learn to relax, creating a feeling of calm that you can return to whenever needed. Grounding techniques to reconnect with the body. Trauma often leads to a sense of disconnection from the body, sometimes called dissociation. Mindfulness offers grounding techniques that can help us reconnect with physical sensations, bringing us back to the present moment and reducing feelings of anxiety or numbness. A popular grounding exercise is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. 5. Look around and name 5 things you can see. 4. Notice 4 things you can feel, such as the texture of your clothing or the surface beneath you. 3. Listen for 3 sounds in your environment. 2. Identify 2 scents you can smell or think of 2 scents you enjoy. 1. Focus on one taste in your mouth or imagine a favorite flavor. This exercise redirects the mind's focus from intrusive thoughts or memories to the immediate environment, helping us to feel more present and connected. Grounding techniques can be particularly helpful when experiencing flashbacks or overwhelming emotions, providing a way to re-anchor ourselves in the here and now. Guided meditation for trauma recovery. Meditation can feel daunting for trauma survivors, as sitting quietly with one's thoughts may initially trigger feelings of discomfort or anxiety. That's why starting with guided meditation is often a gentle way to ease into the practice. In guided meditation, a recorded or live instructor leads you through the process, giving you something to focus on and providing structure. A common guided meditation for trauma healing involves a body scan. This meditation guides you to focus on each part of the body, noticing sensations without judgment. Here's a simple version to try. 1. Find a quiet place to sit or lie down, and close your eyes if it feels comfortable. 2. Starting with your toes, bring your attention to each part of your body, moving slowly up to your head. 3. As you focus on each area, notice any tension, warmth, or discomfort without trying to change it. 4. When you reach the top of your head, take a deep breath and release any tension you may feel. Body scans help reconnect us to physical sensations and promote relaxation, making it easier to feel grounded and present. Many people find that practicing body scans regularly improves their awareness of their bodies and reduces physical symptoms of stress over time. Observing thoughts without judgment. Meditation encourages us to become observers of our thoughts rather than participants in them. For trauma survivors, thoughts can often be overwhelming or distressing, and it's easy to feel trapped in a loop of negative thinking. Mindful observation allows us to watch these thoughts as they come and go, recognizing that they are temporary and don't define us. A helpful way to practice observing thoughts is the cloud meditation. 1. Imagine your mind as a vast sky with each thought passing by like a cloud. 2. As a thought arises, visualize it floating in and out of your mental sky without attaching any meaning or emotion to it. 3. Allow each thought to drift by, returning your focus to your breath whenever you feel distracted. This practice teaches us that thoughts, like clouds, come and go. By observing them without reacting, we create distance between ourselves and our thoughts, reducing their impact over time. Cultivating self-compassion through mindfulness. Mindfulness is not just about staying present. It's also about fostering a compassionate attitude toward ourselves. Trauma often brings feelings of guilt, shame, or self-criticism, making self-compassion an essential part of healing. Loving-kindness meditation is a mindfulness practice that focuses on generating feelings of warmth and kindness toward oneself and others. In loving-kindness meditation, we repeat phrases that encourage compassion. For example, 1. Find a quiet space, sit comfortably, and close your eyes. 2. Take a few deep breaths and imagine a sense of warmth spreading through your chest. 3. Silently repeat phrases such as, "May I be safe," "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," and "May I be at peace." 4. After a few minutes, extend these wishes to others, people you care about, acquaintances, or even the wider world. By practicing loving kindness, we gradually cultivate a compassionate inner voice, countering the negative beliefs trauma often leaves behind. Incorporating mindfulness into daily life. Mindfulness doesn't have to be limited to structured exercises. It can be integrated into everyday activities. Practicing mini moments of mindfulness throughout the day can reinforce a sense of presence and calm. For instance, when washing your hands, focus on the temperature of the water, the sensation of the soap, and the rhythm of your movements. While eating, take a moment to truly taste your food, noticing its textures, flavors, and aromas. On a walk, pay attention to the feeling of your feet hitting the ground, the sounds around you, and the movement of your body. By incorporating these mindful moments, we practice staying present in a way that doesn't feel forced or overwhelming. Over time, these small practices add up, creating a greater sense of stability and resilience. Mindfulness as a foundation for healing. Mindfulness and meditation offer a non-intrusive approach to trauma recovery, gently building awareness and acceptance of both mind and body. They don't require us to relive traumatic memories but rather create a foundation of calm that can help us approach these memories with greater resilience. When practiced consistently, mindfulness provides us with a set of tools we can turn to whenever trauma symptoms arise, offering a way to regain control over our reactions and find peace in the present. In the next chapter, we'll explore somatic experiencing and other body-based therapies that address trauma's physical impact. While mindfulness reconnects us with the present moment, somatic therapies work with the body's stored memories of trauma, helping us release tension and restore balance. Together, these practices provide a holistic approach to healing, giving us the tools to manage trauma on both mental and physical levels. Chapter 7: Somatic Experiencing and Body-Based Therapies. Trauma doesn't just affect the mind, it's stored in the body as well. This concept, central to somatic therapy, recognizes that trauma often lodges itself in our muscles, nervous system, and even our posture. While talk therapy and cognitive approaches address the mind's response to trauma, somatic therapies focus on the body, helping it release stress and restore a sense of safety. Somatic Experiencing (SE) and other body-based therapies aim to relieve trauma's physical grip, allowing us to heal at a fundamental, embodied level. In this chapter, we'll explore the principles behind somatic therapies, including how trauma is stored in the body, and introduce techniques for safely releasing this tension. These therapies allow us to re-establish trust with our physical selves, helping us feel grounded, resilient, and connected. The body's role in trauma. When we experience trauma, the body reacts instinctively to protect us, entering a state of fight, flight, or freeze. These survival responses flood our bodies with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, preparing us to respond. However, if we're unable to fight back, escape, or otherwise release this energy, the trauma can remain frozen in our bodies, creating tension, pain, and a general sense of unease. This unprocessed energy can lead to symptoms like muscle tightness, chronic pain, digestive issues, and even immune system problems. Somatic therapies recognize that trauma recovery involves more than just processing memories. It's also about releasing the body's built-up stress and re-establishing a sense of physical security. Somatic work aims to gently discharge this stored energy, helping the body and mind reconnect in a state of calm. What is Somatic Experiencing (SE)? Somatic Experiencing (SE) is a body-centered approach to trauma developed by Dr. Peter Levine. The core idea of SE is to help the body complete its natural responses to trauma, which were initially interrupted during the traumatic event. Rather than focusing on the trauma itself, SE guides individuals to listen to their body's sensations, allowing them to gradually release stored energy and tension. During an SE session, the therapist encourages the individual to notice physical sensations, such as tightness, warmth, or tingling, and observe these sensations without judgment. By slowly and mindfully allowing these sensations to unfold, the body can naturally discharge trapped energy. This process is called pendulation, where the individual moves between states of tension and relaxation, helping the nervous system re-establish a balanced state. SE also emphasizes the importance of resources, positive sensations or feelings of safety within the body. By focusing on these resources during moments of discomfort, SE helps build resilience, allowing individuals to face physical sensations without becoming overwhelmed. Releasing trauma through movement. Movement-based therapies are another powerful way to help the body process trauma. Practices like yoga, tai chi, and qigong incorporate gentle, controlled movements that encourage relaxation and mindfulness, providing a structured way to release tension. Trauma-sensitive yoga, in particular, has become popular for its ability to help people reconnect with their bodies without triggering overwhelming feelings. Trauma-sensitive yoga differs from traditional yoga in that it emphasizes safety and personal control. Instructors avoid hands-on adjustments and encourage participants to move at their own pace, fostering a sense of empowerment. By focusing on breathing, alignment, and gentle stretching, yoga helps to ground us in the present, release tension, and build strength. This process can gradually restore a sense of trust and comfort in our bodies, providing an invaluable tool for long-term healing. The importance of grounding and centering. Grounding techniques, which are also central to somatic work, help us reconnect with our physical environment. Trauma can make us feel checked out or disconnected from our surroundings, a sensation known as dissociation. Grounding exercises encourage us to stay physically and mentally present, reducing anxiety and promoting stability. A simple grounding technique involves standing firmly with both feet on the ground. 1. Stand upright, placing your feet hip-width apart. 2. Close your eyes and slowly shift your weight from your heels to your toes. 3. Feel the texture of the ground beneath your feet, the weight of your body pressing down, and the sense of being firmly rooted. 4. Take a few deep breaths, letting each exhale relax your body further. Grounding techniques like this one can be especially useful when you feel anxious or out of control, providing a way to reconnect with the present moment through the body. Regular grounding practices can create a foundation of calm and security, making it easier to manage trauma-related triggers. Touch-based therapies, healing through safe contact. For some trauma survivors, physical touch itself can be triggering. However, when approached with caution, touch-based therapies such as massage therapy, craniosacral therapy, and Reiki can help release trauma stored in the body. These therapies work by providing gentle, therapeutic touch that promotes relaxation, releases muscle tension, and encourages the body to enter a state of rest and repair. Massage therapy focuses on releasing tension in muscles and connective tissue, while craniosacral therapy uses gentle manipulation of the skull and spine to balance the body's systems. Reiki, a form of energy healing, involves hands-on or near-body touch intended to promote relaxation and balance. Each of these methods allows the body to release stress in a non-invasive, calming way. It's essential to work with a skilled practitioner who understands trauma sensitivity and respects boundaries. Some individuals find these therapies immensely comforting, while others may need time to build trust with touch-based approaches. It's always important to go at your own pace and communicate any discomfort with the practitioner. Listening to the body's signals. One of the key aspects of somatic therapy is learning to listen to our bodies. Trauma can make us feel disconnected from our physical sensations, sometimes causing us to ignore or suppress them. Reconnecting with the body means paying attention to sensations and emotions as they arise, and allowing ourselves to feel them without rushing to suppress or fix them. A helpful exercise for tuning into the body is body awareness meditation. 1. Sit or lie down in a comfortable position. 2. Close your eyes and take a few slow breaths. 3. Starting with your toes, bring your attention to each part of your body, noticing any tension, warmth, or sensation. 4. As you move from your toes to your head, observe each sensation without judgment. 5. If you feel discomfort, try to breathe into that area, allowing it to soften or release. Practicing body awareness helps us become attuned to the body's signals, which can be valuable in managing trauma responses. Over time, this practice can help us recognize and address stress before it becomes overwhelming, creating safety within the body. Somatic therapy is about building a safe, resilient relationship with our bodies. Trauma can often make us feel like our bodies are betraying us, triggering reactions we don't want or understand. Somatic work gently reintroduces us to our physical selves, helping us build comfort, trust, and stability within. One important aspect of creating safety is respecting personal boundaries. Healing from trauma isn't about pushing ourselves to endure discomfort but about expanding our comfort zone in a way that feels manageable. Somatic therapies encourage us to pace ourselves, work with sensations gradually, and respect the limits of what feels safe. Integrating somatic practices into daily life. Somatic practices don't require a therapy session to be effective. They can be integrated into daily life. Simple habits, like practicing mindful breathing when stressed or stretching in the morning, help reinforce a sense of safety and presence. Engaging in gentle physical activity like walking, dancing, or yoga provides the body with regular outlets to release tension and foster relaxation. By regularly engaging with somatic practices, we can reduce trauma's hold on the body, promoting a deeper sense of ease and stability. Over time, these habits help recondition the nervous system, replacing the fight-or-flight response with calm and resilience. In the following chapter, we'll explore how creative expression, through art, writing, and music, can provide additional outlets for processing trauma. Like somatic therapy, creativity offers a nonverbal way to work through difficult emotions, tapping into our inner strength and resilience. Together, these approaches provide a holistic framework for healing, empowering us to reclaim control and live with greater freedom from trauma's impact. Chapter 8: Art and Creative Expression in Trauma Recovery. Trauma often leaves us with feelings and memories that are difficult to put into words. While talking about our experiences can be healing, it can also feel overwhelming or insufficient. This is where creative expression, through art, writing, music, and movement, becomes a powerful tool. Creative expression provides a safe, nonverbal way to process emotions and reconnect with ourselves in a way that transcends language. For many trauma survivors, creating something tangible can serve as a form of release, insight, and even transformation. In this chapter, we explore various forms of creative expression and how each can support the healing journey. Creativity is not about skill or talent. It's about finding a personal outlet to express and process what we feel inside, often helping us access insights that traditional therapeutic methods alone might not reach. Why creativity is healing. Creativity taps into a part of the brain that allows us to process experiences differently. Trauma often disrupts our natural ability to make sense of what happened, leaving us feeling stuck in the past. Through creative expression, we engage the brain's emotional centers without the constraints of language or logic. This can be particularly helpful when trauma feels too overwhelming to discuss openly. When we create, whether through painting, writing, or playing music, we allow ourselves to reconnect with our inner world. Creative activities invite us to process memories and emotions at our own pace, without judgment or pressure. They can provide relief from overthinking and offer a sense of accomplishment and pride, reminding us of our strength and resilience. Art therapy, using visual arts to express emotions. Art therapy, which uses drawing, painting, sculpture, and other visual arts, has become an established approach for trauma recovery. It doesn't require any formal training or artistic skill, just the willingness to explore. Through art, trauma survivors can express emotions that might otherwise remain hidden or unprocessed. Some people find it helpful to start with free drawing or painting, letting their hand move freely across the paper without a specific plan. This technique, often called intuitive art, allows the subconscious to guide us, often resulting in shapes, colors, or images that express what we feel internally. Others might choose to draw specific scenes or symbols related to their experiences, which can help make abstract feelings more tangible and manageable. Another therapeutic approach is collage, where we cut and paste images, words, and colors to create a visual representation of our emotions. This technique can be especially powerful, as it involves physically arranging and altering images, giving us a sense of control over our creations. Collages can represent the past, present, or hopes for the future, and revisiting them over time can show us how our feelings and perspectives evolve throughout the healing journey. Writing and journaling as paths to self-understanding. Writing allows trauma survivors to explore their experiences through words, creating a structured outlet for thoughts and emotions. Writing about trauma doesn't mean we have to recount every detail. Instead, it's an invitation to reflect on our experiences in whatever way feels comfortable. Some people prefer journaling, while others find poetry, short stories, or even letter writing to be helpful. One effective approach is free writing, where we write continuously for a set amount of time without editing or censoring ourselves. Free writing allows thoughts and emotions to flow naturally, often revealing insights we hadn't previously considered. For example, setting a timer for 5 or 10 minutes and writing about a particular memory, feeling, or image can provide relief, clarity, and understanding. Prompted journaling is another valuable tool. Prompts can be as simple as "Today I feel," or "One memory I want to explore is." These gentle prompts guide us into self-reflection without forcing us to go into details we aren't ready to revisit. Writing with prompts can help us explore feelings, express gratitude, or set intentions for healing, fostering a sense of progression and control over our narratives. Music and sound, healing through rhythm and melody. Music is a powerful medium for expression and healing, engaging parts of the brain involved in memory, emotion, and sensory processing. Listening to or creating music can offer comfort, distraction, and even a sense of release. For trauma survivors, music can serve as a bridge to emotions that feel difficult to access directly. Listening to music that resonates emotionally can help us feel understood, as though the music expresses what we cannot say ourselves. Creating music, whether by singing, playing an instrument, or even tapping a rhythm, provides a way to release pent-up energy and engage with emotions physically. Music therapy, guided by a trained therapist, can help trauma survivors explore and express emotions, offering relief from overwhelming thoughts and sensations. Sound healing practices, such as drumming or listening to specific sound frequencies, have also been used to support trauma recovery. Drumming, for example, is an ancient technique that promotes relaxation and focus. The repetitive rhythm helps ground us in the present moment, making it easier to feel centered and calm. Many people find that sound healing allows them to connect with themselves on a sensory level, reducing anxiety and enhancing resilience. Movement and dance, reclaiming the body through motion. Trauma can make us feel disconnected from our bodies, sometimes leaving us hesitant to move or afraid of physical sensations. Movement-based expression, including dance, stretches, or gentle exercises, helps bridge this gap, allowing us to explore our bodies in a way that feels safe, enjoyable, and empowering. Expressive dance or movement therapy doesn't require structured steps or routines. It's about moving in a way that feels natural, allowing emotions to surface through motion. Some people find that swaying, stretching, or even jumping offers a sense of freedom and release. Movement invites us to reconnect with our bodies without having to speak, helping us process feelings in a nonverbal, embodied way. Simple exercises like shaking out the arms and legs or moving to music can discharge tension that accumulates in the body. These actions are instinctive forms of release, giving the body a way to let go of stress. Movement-based expression can also help break cycles of tension or numbness, reintroducing feelings of pleasure and presence in the body. Creating meaning through symbolic art. For many people, art provides a way to create meaning from trauma, transforming difficult experiences into symbols of resilience and strength. Symbolic art involves choosing images, shapes, or colors that represent aspects of our healing journey. For example, someone might paint a broken vase repaired with gold, a metaphor for resilience, inspired by the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is mended with gold to highlight its imperfections as part of its beauty. This type of art helps us create symbols of hope, courage, or peace, reflecting aspects of ourselves we wish to nurture. Symbolic art reminds us that healing is a creative process, where we have the power to reshape our experiences in ways that honor our growth and transformation. Guidelines for using creativity in trauma healing. Exploring trauma through art and creativity can be deeply rewarding, but it's important to approach it gently and with self-compassion. Here are some helpful guidelines. Go at your own pace. Only engage with forms of creative expression that feel comfortable. Some people prefer simple journaling, while others dive into painting or dance. There is no right way to do it. Avoid self-criticism. Trauma recovery is about expression, not perfection. Embrace whatever comes up without judging it. The purpose is to release, not to create something beautiful or right. Give yourself permission to take breaks. If a particular project or exercise becomes overwhelming, step away. Creativity is a tool for healing, not an obligation. Celebrate your creations. Whether you've written a poem, painted a picture, or danced to a favorite song, take a moment to appreciate your effort and bravery. Every act of creativity is a step toward healing. Integrating creativity into daily life. You don't have to be an artist to benefit from creative expression. Small, everyday acts of creativity like keeping a journal, listening to music, or doodling provide relief and connection without requiring extensive time or effort. By integrating these practices into daily life, we create consistent outlets for our emotions, fostering a sense of balance and resilience. Whether it's through art, writing, music, or movement, creative expression is a versatile and empowering tool for trauma recovery. It offers us a language beyond words, a way to explore feelings that may be hard to articulate, and a means to reconnect with our sense of self. Each act of creativity is an act of healing, reminding us of our strength and resilience. In the next chapter, we'll discuss rebuilding trust and relationships after trauma. Trauma often affects our connection to others, making it challenging to feel safe and open. By exploring ways to strengthen relationships and set healthy boundaries, we can create a supportive social environment that nurtures our healing journey. Together with creative expression, these relational tools empower us to rebuild our lives with greater confidence, hope, and connection. Chapter 9. Rebuilding Trust in Relationships Post-Trauma. One of the most challenging aspects of trauma recovery is re-establishing trust in ourselves and others. Trauma can shatter our sense of safety, making it difficult to form or maintain relationships. For some, it may feel easier to keep a distance from others, avoiding vulnerability to protect against further hurt. However, isolation can reinforce feelings of loneliness and fear, while healthy relationships can be a source of healing, support, and strength. In this chapter, we'll explore practical strategies for rebuilding trust, navigating relationships, and creating a support network that feels safe and empowering. By learning how to set healthy boundaries, communicate openly, and choose relationships that support our growth, we can move forward with confidence and connection. Understanding the impact of trauma on relationships. Trauma affects the way we relate to ourselves and others, often leaving us feeling insecure or fearful of intimacy. For some people, trauma creates a heightened sense of vigilance, where the mind and body are constantly on alert, making it challenging to relax or trust others. This can lead to behaviors like withdrawing from social situations, becoming overly self-protective, or even feeling triggered by seemingly harmless interactions. The emotional impact of trauma often causes us to question our worth, making it difficult to believe we are lovable or deserving of kindness. These feelings can be especially strong in relationships, where closeness may trigger past wounds. Rebuilding relationships after trauma doesn't mean forcing ourselves to trust blindly. It means learning to trust our own ability to set boundaries and choose relationships that honor our healing journey. Reconnecting with yourself first. Before rebuilding trust with others, it's essential to reconnect with and trust yourself. Trauma can cause us to lose faith in our instincts, questioning our perceptions and doubting our judgments. Re-establishing self-trust means acknowledging our strengths, honoring our intuition, and forgiving ourselves for any perceived mistakes in the past. One way to cultivate self-trust is through self-reflection. Taking time each day to check in with your feelings, values, and needs can help you feel more grounded and confident in your choices. Reflecting on past decisions, especially those related to relationships, allows you to gain insights without judgment, seeing each experience as a step toward growth. Engaging in self-care rituals is another way to build self-trust. When we prioritize our well-being, we affirm that we are worthy of love and respect. Practicing self-care not only nurtures us physically and emotionally but reinforces the message that we can rely on ourselves for comfort and stability. Setting boundaries as a foundation of trust. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships, particularly after trauma. They help define what feels safe, comfortable, and supportive. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut others out. They are guidelines that communicate our needs and protect our well-being. Learning to set boundaries may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is a vital step in building relationships that honor and respect who we are. Boundaries can take many forms, including physical, emotional, and mental limits. For example, some people may feel comfortable with hugs from close friends but prefer a handshake with acquaintances. Others may need time alone to recharge after socializing, and some may choose to avoid discussing certain topics. To begin setting boundaries, identify what feels safe and supportive in different contexts. Ask yourself, what am I comfortable sharing about myself? How much time and energy am I willing to give to this relationship? What behaviors or topics feel triggering or uncomfortable? Once you've identified your boundaries, communicate them clearly and calmly. Phrases like, "I need a moment to process," "I prefer not to discuss that," or "I feel more comfortable with," allow you to express your needs without feeling defensive. Remember, it's okay to adjust boundaries as you go. What feels safe today may evolve as you continue healing. Choosing supportive relationships. Part of trauma recovery is learning to recognize which relationships contribute positively to our lives. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, empathy, and support. They allow us to feel seen, heard, and valued without judgment or pressure. Rebuilding trust with others involves choosing people who respect our boundaries and understand our healing journey. Look for qualities like empathy, patience, and a willingness to listen in the people you connect with. Supportive friends and family members won't push you to share more than you're comfortable with, nor will they take your boundaries personally. Instead, they will accept and encourage your growth, recognizing that healing is a personal journey. If you feel unsure about a relationship, take note of how you feel during and after interactions. Do you feel uplifted or drained? Safe or uneasy? By listening to these internal cues, you can make choices that support your well-being and prioritize relationships that help you flourish. Practicing open communication. Clear and honest communication is essential in building trust with others. Trauma can make it difficult to express our needs openly, especially if we fear rejection or misunderstanding. However, open communication allows others to understand where we're coming from, creating opportunities for connection and mutual understanding. If sharing feels challenging, consider starting small. Begin by expressing simple preferences, such as where you'd like to go for coffee or whether you prefer a quiet setting over a busy one. Practicing these small acts of self-expression helps build confidence in communicating more sensitive topics over time. When you're ready, you can share aspects of your healing journey with those you trust, explaining your need for boundaries or specific forms of support. Using I statements such as I feel or I need can make conversations feel less confrontational, focusing on your experience rather than placing blame. For example, saying, I feel more comfortable when opens a discussion that allows others to respond with empathy and understanding. Building new connections through shared experiences. Connecting with others who have experienced trauma can be particularly comforting. Peer support groups, whether in person or online, provide a safe space to share your story, listen to others, and receive encouragement from people who truly understand. These shared experiences create a sense of belonging and help reduce feelings of isolation, reminding us that we are not alone in our journey. Joining groups centered on interests or hobbies like art, sports, or book clubs can also help build new connections without the pressure of discussing trauma. Engaging in enjoyable activities with others fosters genuine connection, allowing relationships to grow naturally and comfortably. These connections can help us rediscover joy and trust in social settings, providing positive reinforcement in the healing process. Learning to forgive but not forget. Forgiveness is a complex part of healing, often misunderstood as condoning harmful actions or forgetting past hurts. However, forgiveness in the context of trauma recovery is about releasing the emotional weight we carry, freeing ourselves from resentment, and reclaiming our power. It doesn't mean erasing memories or excusing hurtful behavior. It's a way to let go of feelings that no longer serve us. Forgiveness can begin with self-compassion, forgiving ourselves for any judgments or should-haves we may hold. From there, we can explore forgiving others, if and when we feel ready, for the sake of our peace, not as an obligation. This process is deeply personal and may look different for everyone. Forgiveness can be as simple as acknowledging that we deserve freedom from anger, allowing us to focus on healing and moving forward. Rebuilding self-trust through positive relationships. Healthy relationships serve as powerful mirrors, reflecting back our worth and encouraging self-trust. As we engage in connections that respect our boundaries and support our growth, we learn to trust our ability to choose relationships that align with our values. Each positive interaction reinforces the message that we are worthy of respect, kindness, and understanding. With time, these relationships can help us overcome feelings of isolation and fear, restoring our sense of connection and community. As we heal, we gradually reclaim our ability to trust, not blindly but with confidence in our instincts and our right to choose relationships that support us. Rebuilding trust and relationships after trauma is a gradual process, one that requires patience, courage, and self-compassion. Each boundary set, each honest conversation, and each supportive relationship is a step forward, reminding us that healing is possible and that meaningful connections are within reach. Chapter 10: Building a Resilient Future. Healing from trauma is a transformative journey, one that reshapes us, challenges us, and ultimately leads us to a place of renewed strength. As we reach the final chapter, we focus on what it means to move beyond trauma, not by forgetting it but by integrating it as part of our story without letting it define our future. Building resilience means creating a life that embraces growth, purpose, and the courage to face challenges with confidence. This chapter provides strategies for setting future goals, nurturing personal growth, and creating a life that aligns with our values and strengths. Trauma recovery isn't a destination but an ongoing journey, one where resilience helps us navigate life's ups and downs with greater trust in ourselves and our ability to overcome adversity. Embracing the journey, not the destination. In trauma recovery, it's common to want a clear end point, a moment when we can finally say, "I am healed." However, healing is less about arriving at a specific destination and more about learning to carry our experiences in a way that strengthens us rather than weighs us down. Building resilience involves understanding that growth will continue as we encounter new challenges, relationships, and opportunities. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain but about developing the tools to face it and grow from it. Each step we take in this journey, no matter how small, builds inner strength and reinforces our ability to adapt. Embracing resilience means accepting that we will continue to face difficulties, but now with a renewed sense of self-trust and purpose. Setting meaningful goals for personal growth. As we step forward, setting goals aligned with our values and aspirations can help us move in a positive direction. These goals don't have to be grand or life-altering. They can be simple intentions that add purpose and joy to our daily lives. Setting goals gives us a sense of agency, helping us shape a future that reflects our inner growth and resilience. When setting goals, it can be helpful to start small. Consider areas where you would like to grow or things you wish to experience. For example, physical well-being. Set goals to nurture your body through exercise, nutrition, or rest. Activities like yoga, walking, or swimming can promote strength and relaxation. Emotional health. Prioritize self-care activities like journaling, meditating, or engaging in hobbies that bring joy and calm. Social connections. If relationships are a focus, set goals to connect with supportive people or join communities that align with your interests. As you set these goals, try to make them specific, measurable, and realistic. For instance, instead of setting a goal to feel better, aim for something more concrete, like practice mindfulness for 10 minutes each morning. These achievable steps help build momentum and confidence, reinforcing the belief that we are capable of growth and positive change. Continuing self-care as a lifelong practice. Self-care isn't just a part of the healing process, it's a lifelong practice that sustains resilience. As we move beyond trauma, maintaining routines that nurture our well-being becomes essential. Self-care looks different for everyone, but it generally includes practices that support our physical, mental, and emotional health. Create a self-care routine that feels sustainable and enjoyable, something you can look forward to. This might include daily practices like drinking enough water, taking short walks, or setting aside time to unwind with a good book. Larger self-care practices like taking breaks from work, spending time with loved ones, or engaging in creative hobbies, reinforce a sense of balance and joy. Regular self-care helps prevent burnout and promotes stability, providing a foundation that supports resilience in the face of future challenges. By making self-care a priority, we affirm our worth and set boundaries that protect our well-being. Strengthening resilience through mindfulness. Mindfulness remains a powerful tool for cultivating resilience. By practicing mindfulness regularly, we stay connected to the present, allowing us to face emotions and experiences with greater clarity and calm. Mindfulness encourages us to observe our reactions without judgment, creating space to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Daily mindfulness exercises such as deep breathing, body scans, or simple meditation reinforce our ability to stay grounded. As we practice mindfulness, we build awareness of our emotions and patterns, helping us approach future challenges with patience and self-compassion. This self-awareness strengthens our capacity to manage stress and adapt to change, core components of resilience. Finding purpose and meaning beyond trauma. One of the most powerful aspects of resilience is the ability to create meaning from our experiences. Trauma may have left scars, but it can also inspire a renewed sense of purpose. Many people find healing in helping others, sharing their stories, or engaging in causes they care about. Creating purpose out of pain can be a way to transform trauma's impact, channeling it into something constructive and empowering. Purpose doesn't have to involve major commitments or life changes. It can be found in everyday acts of kindness, creativity, or connection. Volunteering, mentoring, or even offering support to friends and family can provide a sense of fulfillment and remind us that we are not defined by our past but by the choices we make today. Practicing gratitude and self-compassion. Gratitude is a transformative practice that reinforces resilience by helping us focus on the positive aspects of life, even in difficult times. Practicing gratitude can shift our perspective, reminding us of the good in our lives, whether it's a supportive friend, a peaceful moment, or an achievement. Try keeping a gratitude journal, noting things each day that bring joy or comfort, no matter how small. Over time, this habit can reinforce a positive mindset, helping us face challenges with greater resilience. Self-compassion remains equally important. Trauma recovery is filled with highs and lows, and there will be days when we feel frustrated or discouraged. Practicing self-compassion means treating ourselves kindly, especially in these moments, allowing room for mistakes, setbacks, and all the complexities of healing. By offering ourselves compassion, we release the need for perfection and embrace the journey as it is, with all its challenges and victories. Recognizing and celebrating progress. Healing from trauma is a significant achievement, and it's important to recognize and celebrate progress, no matter how incremental it may seem. Each moment of resilience, every boundary set, and each goal reached is a testament to the courage and strength within us. Taking time to honor our journey through journaling, celebrating milestones, or simply reflecting, reinforces self-worth and encourages continued growth. As we recognize progress, we remind ourselves that resilience is a skill we've developed and continue to strengthen. Celebrating even small achievements fosters a sense of empowerment and affirms that we are capable of creating a fulfilling, resilient life. Moving forward with confidence and hope. Resilience is both a skill and a mindset, one that allows us to embrace the future with confidence and hope. Trauma recovery is a lifelong journey, and resilience provides the foundation for facing life's challenges with courage, grace, and a deep sense of inner peace. The experiences we've endured have shaped us, but they don't define us. We have the power to write our own future, guided by our values, strengths, and the wisdom we've gained along the way. As we step into this new chapter, may we carry forward the lessons learned, the self-compassion cultivated, and the resilience built. Let each step be a reminder of our strength and our ability to create a life filled with purpose, connection, and joy. Embracing a new path forward. As we conclude this journey through trauma and healing, may you feel empowered to embrace a future beyond the shadow of the past. Healing is not a linear path, it's a series of steps, sometimes forward and sometimes back, but each one brings us closer to a sense of wholeness. By cultivating resilience, nurturing self-compassion, and building meaningful connections, you are creating a life that reflects your strength and courage. Your experiences are part of your story, but they do not define your future. As you move forward, know that you have the tools to face whatever lies ahead. With each breath, each boundary, and each act of self-care, you reaffirm your worth and your commitment to a life that honors your growth and resilience. Thank you for allowing yourself to embark on this journey. Remember that healing is a process, and each day brings new opportunities for growth, connection, and joy. May you continue to walk this path with confidence, hope, and a deep sense of peace. Conclusion: embracing a new path forward. Healing from trauma is a deeply personal and transformative journey. As we reach the end of this book, we can reflect on the remarkable path from pain and uncertainty toward resilience and hope. Trauma often arrives uninvited, changing the way we see ourselves and the world. But through each chapter of this journey, understanding trauma, exploring therapeutic techniques, reconnecting with the body, expressing creativity, rebuilding relationships, and fostering resilience, we have uncovered tools to move forward with strength and purpose. Embracing a new path forward means choosing to live fully, even with the experiences we carry. Healing is not about erasing the past, it's about transforming our relationship with it. By integrating the lessons and insights we've gained, we can cultivate a life that feels authentic, grounded, and fulfilling. Reflecting on the journey. As we look back on this journey, it's important to recognize and honor the progress made, no matter how small it may seem. Trauma recovery is rarely a straight line, and setbacks are part of the process. Each step taken, each boundary set, and every act of self-compassion is a testament to your strength and determination. Progress in healing might look different from person to person, but the courage to face each day and explore new ways of being is a remarkable achievement. Acknowledging the journey rather than fixating on the destination allows us to appreciate growth as it unfolds naturally, carrying forward the tools of healing. The techniques and practices explored in this book are tools that can support us at every stage of life. Mindfulness, self-care, creative expression, somatic awareness, and boundary setting are not just for trauma recovery. They are lifelong practices that build resilience, cultivate joy, and enrich our lives. By continuing to engage with these tools, we create a foundation of well-being and empowerment that supports us in any future challenges. Healing is not about reaching a place of perfect peace. It's about developing resources to handle life's inevitable ups and downs. Through these practices, we remind ourselves that we are resilient, adaptable, and capable of navigating whatever comes our way. Embracing a renewed sense of self. Trauma can alter our sense of identity, often leading us to question our worth, our values, and our place in the world. Yet through healing we discover a renewed sense of self, one that is not defined by trauma but informed by resilience. Embracing this renewed self means allowing ourselves to feel joy, pursue dreams, and build relationships without fear. This journey has shown that you are more than what happened to you. You have grown, you have healed, and you have developed a profound inner strength. Embracing this new self is an act of self-love and acceptance, a reminder that healing is a process of rediscovery. Moving forward with confidence and hope. Moving forward doesn't mean the end of challenges or difficult days. Rather, it means that we now have the tools, perspective, and resilience to face them. As we continue to grow, we carry forward the lessons learned, the support of meaningful connections, and a sense of purpose that guides us. Allow yourself to dream, to set goals, and to build a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Trust in the resilience you've developed, and know that healing is always within reach no matter where life takes you. You are free to pursue joy, connection, and fulfillment, embracing a future that feels uniquely yours. A life beyond trauma. The journey of trauma recovery is one of the most courageous paths a person can take. As you step into the future, may you carry with you the knowledge that you are worthy, strong, and capable of creating a life beyond trauma. Healing has no expiration date. It is a lifelong process, and each step forward affirms the remarkable strength within you. Thank you for dedicating time to this journey. May you move forward with hope, empowered by resilience, and guided by a deep sense of peace. Healing is not just about overcoming the past. It's about creating a future filled with love, meaning, and joy. As you continue along this path, know that you are deserving of every moment of happiness, fulfillment, and connection that comes your way.